We would like to welcome everyone to the 23rd annual René Moawad Foundation Gala here in Washington, D.C. Thank you for being here tonight to support the foundation, and a special warm welcome to Mrs. Naila Moawad, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and distinguished guests and honorees. My name is Nancy Shaheen Idalag, and I have the honor and privilege this year of chairing the gala. I could not have done it without the incredible support of an incredible committee, including Nina Idris and Natasha Akhta, who put together a fabulous silent auction for you. And we have a fashion show put together by Adia Dresner as well. For those of you who are attending for the very first time, we have an exciting evening planned for you that includes a fabulous young singer, dancing, a silent auction that will continue until 9 o'clock tonight, and a fabulous, exciting fashion show. For those of you who are here for the second, third, or for many of us, the 23rd year, thank you for your continued support for such a fabulous cause. I would like to now introduce our lovely singer, Marianne Khattar, who will lead us through the national anthem.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Okay, please be seated. Next on the program is our chairman of the board of directors, Congressman Nick Rahal. Please welcome Congressman Nick Rahal.
Let's give Nancy another round of applause for the tremendous job she's done as chair of this dinner this evening. Nancy, great job. Thank you. Before proceeding, I think it appropriate that we have a moment of silence for a dear friend to each of us in this room, a member of the board of RMF who has departed in the last year. Clovis McSood was a dear friend to all of us. Let's have a moment of silence for Clovis. Amen. I want to thank each of you for taking the time out of busy schedules, for taking the money out of very scarce financial resources to be here this evening and to help us with the René Moawad Foundation, all for the children and for the good of Lebanon, the land we love so dear. This evening is indeed a very proud evening for all of us as Americans of Lebanese descent and those who love the country of our fathers and grandfathers. And the lady that has already been introduced to you, and you will hear more from her as the evening progresses, Naila Moawad, I want to thank her, our distinguished president, for all she has done for Lebanon. I want to thank our donors, each of you that have participated this evening and bought tables. We appreciate that. I want to thank the board of directors. Let's have every member of the board stand up and be recognized. I want to thank them for their tremendous efforts as well. Thank you, board of directors. Nadia Abrisk, let's give Nadia a round of applause, who does the day-to-day affairs of the foundation and has put this dinner together. Thank you, Nadia. It is indeed my honor to introduce this evening the Master of Ceremonies for our evening. She's a lady well known to many of us who watch the cable news network, CNN. She's a lady that has a tremendous amount of talent, and she has indeed won numerous honors for her journalism and television abilities. While as a print journalist, she received recognition for a body of work that impacted the local communities that she covered and for the expansion of journalism, including the Pennsylvania Bar Association Award and several state Pennsylvania awards for her multimedia reporting and storytelling. In 2011, she was honored with the George Polk Award in Journalism and the Sidney Award for Socially Conscious Journalism. She won a 2015 Sigma Delta Chi Award from the Society of Professional Journalism for her coverage of the academic scandal at the University of North Carolina. And as a Duke graduate, I thank you for that, Sara. In 2012, she was recognized by the Associated Press managing editors for her work with student journalists. Sara has taught college-level journalism, and she spends several days each year speaking to college and high school journalists about the profession and the transition from print to broadcast. In May 2015, she delivered a commencement address to the graduates of the American University of Dubai. Sara Ganim holds a bachelor's degree in journalism from Penn State University. She's a 2015 fellow of the Journalist Law School program at Loyola Law School in Los Angeles, and she has been honored by the American Task Force for Lebanon with its Philabib Award for Distinguished Public Service. Just recently, you may have seen her putting herself in harm's way to bring to the American people the coverage of Hurricane Matthew and the devastation that it was doing along the coast of the United States, especially her reporting from Savannah, Georgia, during the roughest times of that hurricane. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the lady of whom we are very proud as Lebanese-Americans, Miss Sara Ganim of CNN.
Good evening. How is everyone? Ooh, so you have me as your host all night. I'm delighted to say that this is an evening we will truly be celebrating the best of what makes us Lebanese, the things that make us so proud of who we are and where we are from. I am a Lebanese-American. My father, over here at this front table if you want to harass him, and his family are from Zakhem and Fallujah, but that was 3 generations ago. So if you ask my father tonight where he is from, what village his family is from, he will tell you Cleveland. But he is still very proud, I assure you, as many of us in this room. Thankfully, he still instilled me as he was raising me, as my family was raising me, with the most important virtues of being Lebanese. As my sister used to say, to be good, close families, good food, and also, of course, dressing up, which is very important, which is one of the reasons we are all here tonight. Tonight we are here to honor men who have done remarkable things through their work, who we are proud to call our fellow Lebanese. And in that spirit of celebration, I want to share with you a few quick stories of another very important reason that we are all here tonight. I'm a journalist, so normally I have someone in my ear telling me when to wrap, when to stop talking. Tonight, I know I don't have that earpiece, I don't have that producer, so I'm sure you all will tell me when to stop talking because you will begin talking. I'll be very aware of that. I just came back from Lebanon a few weeks ago, and I was able to see firsthand the incredible work of the René Moawad Foundation, firsthand. I visited the Education Center near Tripoli. You can see some pictures from the Education Center. I visited dozens of little ones with big smiles on their faces who were learning the foundations of a healthy and prosperous life. The little girls were singing songs about confidence and the importance of going to school. The little boys were jumping and clapping and chanting about resisting the pressures of becoming a child worker. There are estimates that 200,000 children in Lebanon work instead of going to school. But the teachers at the RMF Education Center are doing everything they can to reduce that number, student by student. I met Khulud, who runs the center during the day, and then in the evenings visits the homes of the children whose parents no longer want them to go to the center. That day we visited with one little girl who came to Khulud and said that her father had told her today was her last day at the school. He said she was too old now. She was not more than 12. Khulud assured her that everything would be okay and that she would go to the girl's home later in the week and talk to her father to try and convince him to allow his daughter to stay in school. That is not all Khulud does. She sits with Syrian and Lebanese children in the same room and teaches them tolerance. She's patient with one little girl who came to the center with a fierce hatred for the little Syrian children, counseling all of them until they began to play together. With the boys, Khulud is used to trying to unteach them violence. She keeps a bucket of knives locked away, confiscated from the boys who are otherwise used to spending their times on the streets. Instead, they can spend their time at the center, on the rooftop here, where they are playing soccer. Instead of running the streets, they're running in a game of soccer. Refereed, by the way, by a young man whose parents had refused to pay for his education because they wanted him instead to work. So the René Moawad Foundation paid for his school, helped him pay for his school, and today he's in nursing school, learning to become a nurse and spending his free time teaching these little boys. The success stories, I am telling you firsthand, are evident on each and every one of their smiling faces. And this is really only a small part of the story of RMF. Almost 27 years ago, Lebanon had a president with a tremendous vision for his country. René Moawad wanted to help his people succeed in every region of the country, no matter their religion, no matter their politics, no matter their economic standing. And 17 days after René Moawad was elected to lead his people, he was assassinated, but his vision did not die. It has prospered and blossomed along with his country, just as he would have hoped. These kids are just a small part of the impact that René Moawad has had in Lebanon. Take a look.
The seeds of the René Moawad Foundation were sown on the 22nd of November 1989 in the midst of destruction, martyrdom, blood, and tears. With a firm will to uphold the principles and values of the deceased president René Moawad, and with faith in a strong Lebanon, the foundation began its mission to work for peace, democracy, and human rights, and to respect Lebanon's diversity. The René Moawad Foundation made a resolve to work to help and support the Lebanese citizens in all the regions of the country, so that they stay rooted in their land, are productive and free, and maintain their dignity.
This was the challenge that Mrs. Moawad always spoke about. She would say, we should provide people with fishing poles and teach them how to catch fish, not simply distribute fish to them. Democracy is beautiful, but in order to teach people about democracy, which is one of our most important principles, we need first to provide them with the means to meet their material needs with dignity, right in their villages and homes.
Mrs. Naila Moawad changed the burning rubble of hatred into hope. She transformed the heaviest of losses into redoubled strength, the strength to stay alive, stand upright and powerful, to face difficult challenges. She rolled up her sleeves and was the first volunteer at the foundation amongst many other volunteers who believed in the same goals. They moved forward, regardless of the acknowledgement that succeeding in this mission was close to impossible with no funds available, a lack of expertise, and the need to work in opposition to the common social norms of that period of time.
When we presented a project or offered a new idea to Mrs. Moawad, she would work day and night studying it to make sure that she understood it and that it became a reality. She would do everything to make it succeed. In Bab el-Tabane, we faced strong opposition. The opposition came from the employers of the working children. They accused us of taking away the kids from work. They wanted these kids to remain ignorant so that they could keep exploiting them.
But impossible was not in the dictionary of the René Moawad Foundation. It succeeded in convincing a significant number of international institutions to dedicate projects and allocate budgets for Lebanon. The foundation, through its strong organization and transparency, has gained the admiration and respect of all donors and international institutions it has worked with, becoming an indispensable partner for development work in Lebanon.
When she started with the foundation, we had just one vehicle, one car. Today, the agricultural center is like a busy government. I am so proud of our many projects. The olive oil project, for instance. Through it, Lebanese olive oil has been sold in the best olive oil boutiques in 52 countries around the world. I can't help but also talk about the apple and olive harvesting projects that were held in 2006 after the July War. Thousands of Lebanese students participated in these activities. They were not able to find jobs due to the war, and we were able to provide them with an income while helping with the harvest.
This, in summary, is the story of the René Moawad Foundation, which has as the founding stone of its achievement the blood of sacrifice and the sweat of continuous hard work for the sake of Lebanon. An institution that has worked hard and in silence to realize its highest goals, that development becomes a right for every Lebanese citizen, a right and not a luxury.
The label of crazy was given to us in the beginning, but no one thinks we are crazy anymore, in any way. It is 200 colleagues working at the foundation. It is a multitude of projects all over the country. It is thousands of beneficiaries served by the René Moawad Foundation.
Now that you've had a chance to see for yourselves, I ask that while it is still fresh in your minds and your memories, to use those envelopes on your tables to make a donation tonight so that this work can continue. And in addition, the silent auction is still open. Final bids are being accepted. It will close at 9 p.m. Not 9 p.m. Lebanese time, 9 p.m. So go. And feel free, while you're out there, by the way, to put my name on any of the beautiful items that you see that you think I might want. No pressure. With that, our dinner service begins, along with the musical performance of Sammy Yusuf. I have a little bit of good news. Very quickly, we're going to extend the silent auction for another 15 minutes until 9:15. So I lied before when I said Lebanese time. It was Lebanese time, 9:15. In the meantime, I hope you are all enjoying your dinner. I encourage you to continue eating, continue enjoying yourselves amongst your friends and family while we continue to be entertained by Marianne Khattar.
Good evening. I hope you guys are going to enjoy your night, and I hope you guys enjoy this set. Once again, my name is Marianne Khattar, and I'm going to be singing you a couple songs. Wrapped up in clover. The night I looked at you, I found a dream that I can speak to, a dream that I can call my own. I found a thrill to press my cheek to, a thrill that I have never known. Oh, when you smile, and then the spell was cast, and here we are in heaven. Oh, you are mine at last. At last. Heaven, I'm in heaven, and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak, and I seem to find the happiness I see when we're out together. together, dancing cheek to cheek. Ooh, heaven, I'm in heaven. And the cares that hung around me through the week seem to vanish like a gambler's lucky streak. When we're out together, dancing cheek to cheek. Oh, I'd love to climb a mountain and to reach the highest peak, but it doesn't thrill me half as much as dancing cheek to cheek. Oh, I'd love to go out fishing in a river or a creek, but it doesn't thrill me half as much as dancing cheek to cheek. Oh, mama, dance with me. I want my arms about you. The charm about you will carry me through to heaven. I'm in heaven, and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak, and I seem to find the happiness I see when we're out together, dancing cheek to cheek. About you, the charm about you will carry me through to heaven. I'm in heaven, and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak, and I seem to find the happiness I see when we were out together, dancing cheek to cheek, cheek to cheek, oh, cheek to Did you say I have a lot to learn? Baby, don't think I'm trying not to learn. Since this is the perfect spot to learn, go on and teach me tonight, starting with the ABC of it, right down to the XYZ of it. Help me solve the mystery of it. Go on and teach me tonight. The sky's a blackboard high above you, and if a shooting star goes by, I'll use that star to write I love you 1,000 times across the sky. One thing isn't very clear, my love. Should the teacher stand so near, my love? Graduation's almost here, my love. Go on and teach me tonight. Times across the sky, one thing isn't very clear, my love. Should the teacher stand so near, my love? Graduation's almost dear, my love. Oh, teach me tonight. Cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your mama's good looking. So hush, little baby. Singing, then you'll spread your wings and you'll take to the sky. But until that morning, there's nothing can harm you. With daddy and mommy standing by. Summertime, oh, and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your mama's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. Thank you so much.
I hope you guys are enjoying dinner. I need to inform you that the silent auction is now officially closed. I'm sorry, I know what it's like to interrupt the conversations. But the silent auction is now officially closed. We're going to move on with the rest of the program, so I'd ask that you all please return to your tables. Once again, the silent auction now officially closed. The list of winners will be posted, and the checkout is in the reception area after the show. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce the woman who is the reason that we are all here tonight. There are really few among us who will find the will to persevere despite unbelievable tragedy, and there are even fewer who do it with such grace and such warmth. The René Moawad Foundation is non-political, non-sectarian, strives for civil peace, dialogue, national unity, and the equity of all Lebanese citizens. It helps people of all religions, of all cultures, while bringing them together. It's such a refreshing thing to see in the world that we live in. And this is all because of the vision and the guidance of one very extraordinary woman. I have been the beneficiary of her grace and of her kindness, as have so many of the people in this room. Her tireless work has transformed René Moawad's legacy and made his name synonymous with good. When she founded RMF 27 years ago, it was to help farmers achieve success. That agricultural initiative continues to be the cornerstone of the foundation. More than 12,000 farmers have an easier time distributing their apples and their olives each season throughout the country thanks to the René Moawad Foundation Distribution Center. The idea is an important one. It's that the success of the Lebanese start in their villages with their own hard work. Now, that has expanded to aid in employment programs for women and entrepreneurs, and to small businesses, to the rehabilitation of inhospitable homes, to subsidized healthcare, mobile clinics in rural areas, and water and sanitation services. These things are all especially important right now in light of the influx of Syrian refugees in Lebanon. These are all the visions of a woman who listens and tries at any chance she can, no matter how small, to help. She will listen to any request, no matter the size. She never hesitates to lend her gracious hand to those in need. It is my pleasure to introduce to you former First Lady, Miss Naila Moawad.
Thank you. I'm very touched. Thank you. Thank you so much. I should be the one applauding your presence here and your constant support to our foundation. And really, Sara has been speaking about the foundation and about our projects and about me much more eloquently than I could ever have done myself. So good evening, everyone. I will not name every personality and person here because you are all under one banner, the friends of the René Moawad Foundation, the supporters of the René Moawad Foundation that work so hard in Lebanon to try to support the life, the miserable life that we are going through in Lebanon and I think you all know about it. And Sara is describing new projects, but you have to know that behind every project, there is a wonderful story. She told you about the story of the youngsters, and I will tell you a story about agriculture because I may feel that you don't care so much about agriculture. It's true. It's to keep the people in their villages. They should not leave Lebanon. They should not go to big cities where they are lost in a world they don't know. But also there are wonderful stories. I'll tell you just one. I met a breeder. He was telling me I bought 40 cows and I'm selling all the milk to the foundation. And I want to bring 40 more cows. I said, but it's wonderful, you are a professional. He told me, no, I'm an engineer. I was working in Nigeria and I was kidnapped. And I thought I was going to be killed. And it took 1 second not to be killed. And now I'm in my village, in my country, and looking after cows and having the René Moawad Foundation buying my milk every day. And behind every project we have, there is a wonderful, humane story that tells you that people not only need the foundation, but they get back their dignity and their happiness when they are working for the foundation or at the foundation. Susan, you should say something. All I want to tell you, because you've heard a lot about the project, definitely, as Sara said, we are definitely non-political, non-sectarian, non-regional. We are very lucky to have been able to work all through and all over Lebanon. René Moawad gave his life for Lebanon, and the René Moawad Foundation is faithful to his mission, and we are working for the whole Lebanon. Then, I just want to tell you also something else. I said last year at the dinner, and you heard it from me, the only way to work against fanatism and extremism, wherever or whenever it comes, and against sectarianism, is to procure education to people, procure them a developed ambiance where they live in their dignity, not as beggars or not as hopeless people, and giving them an ambition for the future. And I always say ignorance, poverty, and lack of perspective in the future are the best recipe for a future terrorist or a future despaired person. So you are helping us in that, and thank you so much for your presence. I won't be long because we are still going to hear, I think, the beautiful voice singing us other things. I think so. I don't know enough about the program. And thank you again for your continuous support, and for the newcomer, thanks, and I hope we'll have you on board for all our dinners, as long as we can give dinners. Thank you.
Our next guest is nothing short of a genius. I am not kidding. Professor Richard Mulligan is an internationally recognized pioneer in the development of new technologies for transferring genes. And for his work, he has been honored with the MacArthur Foundation's Genius Prize, one of the world's most prestigious honors, in my opinion, not to mention an incredibly brag-worthy title. I mean, I really want to ask you, Richard, when someone gets into an argument with you, do you just drop the line, "I'm a genius," and then move on? Because that's what I would do. Anyway, it was several years ago that Professor Mulligan got a letter from Dr. André Choulika asking if he could be his postdoc fellow. Mulligan became the younger Choulika's mentor, working with him on patents, one of which was what's the correct word? Made to be a couple of weeks ago, and helping him as he developed his passion, which is building technology that allows for the manipulation of DNA, gene therapy, for treating patients with hereditary disease. It's very popular, in vogue, as they say, in science right now, but one which Dr. Choulika and Professor Mulligan were working on when others were not. Professor Mulligan has had a long list of accomplishments, so long that I absolutely cannot tell you them all today. But I will tell you that for his work, he has been given the Rhodes Memorial Award of the American Association for Cancer Research and is now Professor Emeritus at Harvard University, where he was the director of the Harvard Gene Initiative. Here to introduce you to our first honoree of the night, Professor Richard Mulligan.
Well, thank you for that interesting introduction. I get teased about that all the time. And I was actually thinking a little bit about that this evening when I tried to tell you in a minute or two what André Choulika does. I will lose my Genius Award, I'm sure. It's a pleasure to introduce André, one of the two awardees, for he is a most amazing person. He is everything a researcher and human being ought to be. He's brilliant, he is passionate, and he's very stubborn, very stubborn. I remember many times in the laboratory not give up on things, and that's a characteristic that is so important to a great researcher. So we're here tonight to honor him for his contributions in the development of an amazing technology termed gene editing, which makes it possible to stick your hands, figuratively, into the cells of people, snip out, manipulate DNA, and in doing so, do great things for their health. And André, as Sara mentioned, was involved in this research many, many years ago at a point when no one thought it was so interesting. In fact, my daughter would say, there's a country song, I was country before country was cool. He was a gene editor before that was cool. And so, in 30 seconds or a minute, I'm going to try to say something about what André has achieved and why it's so important. And that is, I have to say something about DNA and the fact that it is often considered the stuff of life. And that's because DNA and the code of billions of chemical constituents, tells the egg, this fertilized egg, everything to do to become an organism, to become an adult. The DNA ends up in every one of our cells, and the DNA is critically important for a liver cell being a liver cell, a heart cell being a heart cell. It tells the adult cell what to do, basically. Unfortunately, it has to be maintained perfectly or issues occur. And really, unfortunately, over the last 20 or 30 years, it's been very clear that many, many human diseases are actually caused by very tiny alterations in DNA. Sometimes one little base pair out of billions can cause a devastating disease. And so it's been for many years the holy grail of molecular biology and genetics to try to be able to find a way to go in and alter that DNA. And so years ago, when André was a young grad student running around Paris at coffee shops, in his spare time, he was working on a method to actually figure out a way to generate molecular scissors that allow you to go into the cell and chop the DNA at a very specific location, and in doing so, enable either knocking out that gene, if that was a bad gene you want to knock out, or to elicit a natural repair process that would fix a defective gene. And so he came to my research group subsequently, spent a number of years. I was witness firsthand, this guy is an amazing person, and he left the lab taking an interesting career choice. Most of people like him is very successful, go on being a professor somewhere and write a lot of research grants and write a lot of papers and stuff. André was so passionate about this technology and the impact it would have that he went back to Paris, started a company, a little company called Selectus, and for the last, 15 or so years is building that company. So doing this pretty much all by himself with a passion that up until maybe 4 or 5 years ago, very few people really had. Now, if you open up a paper or you look on Time magazine or something, you will see gene editing all over the place because of the power of this whole technology. So I think I'll leave it at this level of scientific discourse. And can we show a video, Sara? Okay, there's a video that I think will put in perspective kind of the company that André has developed, and you'll see some of the passion about this whole technology. Thank you.
The T cell plays an important Selectus, immuno-oncology, pioneering gene editing. Selectus is harnessing the power of the immune system to target and eradicate cancers by designing next-generation, off-the-shelf immunotherapies based on gene-edited T cells. The T cell plays an important role in identifying and killing diseased cells. Unfortunately, cancer cells develop mechanisms to evade the immune system. To enhance the T cell's ability to identify cancer cells, engineered chimeric antigen receptors, or CARs, can be expressed on the surface of the T cell, providing them with a specific cancer targeting mechanism. Unlike autologous CAR-T immunotherapies that require an individualized immunotherapy product for each patient, Selectus's allogeneic CAR-T immunotherapy is a non-patient specific or off-the-shelf product derived from a healthy T cell donor. To produce off-the-shelf T cells, surface receptors on the cell must be modified. Within the cell, TALEN gene editing is used to suppress specific surface receptors on the T cells. A custom TALEN targets and binds to precise gene sequences. The DNA is clipped by TALEN, resulting in the safe inactivation of the target gene. Through this gene editing, the targeted receptors are removed from the cell surface, creating T cells with CAR proteins ready for use by all patients. Billions of engineered T cells are generated in the production process. The CAR T cells are filled in vials and frozen. Allogeneic production of CAR T cells is cost-effective and results in a remarkable off-the-shelf product capable of being distributed worldwide. Selectus provides a best-in-class immuno-oncology cancer treatment, turning the immune system into a smart drug to seek, identify, and destroy cancers.
It's our honor now to introduce you to our honoree of the night, Dr. André Choulika.
Well, thank you very much. Maybe I will say a few words about myself. Okay, my name is André Choulika. I'm like a Lebanese by origin. I'm born in Beirut. My father is from Beirut. My mother is from Daron. I went to the Collège Protestant. Who's from the collège here? Hey, collège! And so I'm like very proud to be born in this country, because I think when you're Lebanese, you have something different. You appreciate life, first of all, and this is a very important thing. And that's what this country teaches to people, appreciating life, every minute of it. And we're enthusiastic people, we like other people, we like good living. Beirut is the best city in the world for partying. Yes! And like it's so cool to be Lebanese. Besides having the Lebanese passport makes things more complicated at borders, like everyone knows this. It's better to have like an American, French, or anything like Swiss passport. But I would like to warmly thank the René Moawad Foundation, and I would like to say also a very specific and very deep thank you to Naila Moawad. Thank you, Naila. Merci كتير يعني. Merci for this very nice award. Like, extremely appreciate this, because there is so many great people in Lebanon. Really modest one compared to a lot of people doing fantastic things, and Naila is one of these people that do change things in Lebanon through this foundation, and I think that this is extremely important. Maybe I will say a few words about what I'm doing. So it has been described in this video, but it's extremely simple. It's a new approach to cancer. And maybe let me say a few words about it. I'm trying to be as short as possible. When you try to kill cancer, cancer are cells that are divided in the body randomly. If you want to kill them by chemotherapy, it's like carpet bombing. You kill all dividing cells. People lose their hairs, lose their nails, have problem digestion, and sometimes cancer can get killed by these chemotherapies. And then people start thinking about making more targeted therapies. Monoclonal antibodies, there is ADCs, there is bispec, and this new therapy that was shown in this video is very specific. We use cells of the body. These cells survey what comes from the outside. They're like an immigration police. When they detect something that is not, no, I'm serious, actually, it's our immigration police, and when they detect the Lebanese passport, no. They arrest him. And then after this, they let him go through, actually. And no, it's like our immigration police, so they check for everything that is non-self. If they detect something that is not from our body, they will kill it. And not only they will kill it, but still amplifying themselves in hundreds of thousands of cells and destroying everything that resembles to it. And what we do with our therapy, what's called CAR-T therapy, is that we train these cells not to recognize non-cell things that come from the outside, but cancer cells. So the cancer cells become enemies. And when you inject this in patients, then the cells go inside the bloodstream. Instead of detecting something that is non-cell, they will detect a cancer cell, will kill it, and will start amplifying and will melt down the tumor. And normally within 2 weeks, the tumor will totally melt down and put the patient in complete remission. Selectis is doing this, we've been doing this, but there's other companies in the States doing this also, and we have now rates of complete remission in patients that can go up to 94%, 94%. This is incredible. The first time it has been presented at the American Association for Hematology in December 2014, people fell off their chairs. People have been treated this way and are in complete remission since 5 years. The first patient we've treated was a young kid called Layla, and she had 80% of her blood was cancer cells, and came to see her parents and told her parents that we could treat her maybe with a sophisticated new drug never tested on any patient, but only tested in animals. They said, okay, shoot the girl in June, like a year and a half ago. 2 weeks later, the tumor was gone. 1 year, 1 month later, she was declared in complete remission. Wait a second. And since then, she's still in complete remission. Other patients have been treated since then, in a repetitive, similar way, and we think that there is a revolution ongoing in cancer, and this revolution is going to change the way we see cancer, maybe converting this ill disease to something that would be a more stable therapy and maybe like a chronic therapy in the future. But things are changing today through gene editing. What Richard described is very important. Gene editing is a new way in life, and not only this week on Thursday the 20th, actually Richard was present also at this, we organized the first dinner in the world through gene editing. And we made gene editing pasta, gene editing soybeans. All the food was through gene editing. It was cooked by Ducasse, by the way. And I think this is the first meal in the 21st century of people eating such type of food. You will eat this in the future. The world is changing. It's very exciting. And thank you very much for Naila, Moawad, and for the foundation, because this is also coming from Lebanon. Aish Lebanon.
Now, do not let him fool you. It is not very simple, and we are very lucky as a society to have people like Dr. Choulika who are smart enough to not only understand it, but to be able to do such good work. I once heard someone describe our next guest as just an ordinary guy leading an extraordinary life. Well, quite extraordinary, to say the least, and not just his life, but also his character. Tom Shadyac has directed some of the most comedically brilliant movies of my lifetime. When I was in the 3rd grade, learning to spell and do basic arithmetic, all the little boys in the back were sitting in the back of the classroom reciting lines from Ace Ventura, A Pet Detective, and not listening, but that's okay. I wasn't listening either. Tom directed that movie, along with The Nutty Professor, along with Liar, Liar, Bruce Almighty. And even more impressive than all of that is the character within. Tom does not live the typical life of a Hollywood star director. He's given up extravagance in return for a simpler, happier life, one in which he asks the question of what can he do each and every day, his share of helping the world. How fitting for this evening, right? He's self-described as a t-shirt and jeans kind of guy who was forced to wear a suit tonight. And he said to me that he's weird, but the honest truth, Tom, is that you're not weird. You're just much less afraid than the rest of us to be normal. Tonight he introduces his brother, Rick Shadyac. Tom told me the two of them on the outside are completely different, but on the inside, they're exactly the same. Tom, please help me. Please help me, all of you, in welcoming Tom Shadyac as he introduces our next honoree.
Yeah, get a picture. This is the only time I'll be wearing a suit in, let's see, forever. Hello, Arabs. Let me see if I can still do this. Mismul Ab, Ibn, wa Ruhu Qudus, Amin. Right? I memorized that at our... How many of you went to Our Lady of Lebanon Maronite Seminary? Yeah, I wish I knew the Arabic for hurry the hell up, please. The Arabic Mass took a very long time. It's good to see all of you. Most of us are family. We're cousins, right? How many of you knew my dad? Yep. Yeah, my dad, I think my dad, Rick said my dad was honored. Is that correct? My dad was honored by the foundation, right? You've honored my dad, my brother. Okay, never mind. I got to say that this is the first time I live in LA and somewhat in Memphis, and this is the first time I've been in a room with this many Arabs in a long time. I'm a little nervous. 2 words next year, metal detectors. Okay, just throwing it out there. Maybe a theme of see something, say something would be nice. But I am a proud Arab American. I have learned from my family, from my dad. Except when I travel, then I'm a proud Arab American all the other times. But when I travel, I'm a proud Irish American. But I've learned about what makes our heritage so special, and I'm learning it even more tangibly through my brother's life. There was a study done, I think it was on NPR, that said the Lebanese culture is the most successful culture in America. True. First of all, the best food. I don't know what that thing was earlier, that thing called salad. We have something called tabbouleh. Again, another suggestion for next year, tabbouleh. Baba ganoush, another suggestion. The old joke, I would not eat a food that sounded like it should be making a tackle, roughing the passer, number 44, Baba Ganoush. Okay. That's the old joke. But the Arab, Lebanese specifically, community was the most successful community in America for 2 reasons. Number one, we're all relatives, we're all family. We have a strong sense of community, and we bond and we stick together, and it's true. My cousins are my family to this day. Even the uncles who I'm not related to are my uncles by soul, by spirit, and that community built St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, one of the greatest gifts to this nation in our history. Yeah. And the other reason we're such a successful culture, assimilating into America, is we are hard workers. We're hard workers. My grandfather came over and was a traveling grocer, and he put this work ethic into my family that I see alive in my brother today, and it so inspires me. I pray that some of this ethic is in me, but I do believe it is why our culture has been listed and elevated and identified as such a strong, successful culture. So I want to talk now about my brother, how he got the best of it and has taken it to the next level. How many of you knew my dad? My dad was a little crass, very religious man, but a little crass, right? You knew my dad. He would say things like, "Look, Tommy, it's the goddamn Pope." He would say things like that. He would curse. What's that, brilliant? My dad was brilliant. He was brilliant. And that's what my brother got from my dad. But he took that kind of my older uncle crassness and has turned it and refined it and alchemized it into a compassion that is overwhelming. So it's easy to talk about the big things that my brother does. He raises $1 billion a year as the head of ALSAC, the fundraising arm that funds, yes, the Cancer Research Institute. And all of you know, nobody pays a dime at St. Jude. Nobody pays a dime. It's just a beautiful way that our culture has been able to give back and create another model. So Rick has become, so he's done this thing, $1 billion. He's every week he's on the cover of the Memphis magazines. He's Businessman of the Year. He just got the Memphis version of the Hollywood Walk of Fame is you get inducted into the Hall of Fame of this hotel called the Peabody. He's got all that. So you know that. But this is what I think is important, is who are you when the cameras aren't on? Who are you in the small things of life? Because how you do anything is how you do everything. So it's the way my brother treats the valet man who takes his car keys that moves me. It's the way that my brother honors everyone who works at the hospital that deeply challenges me in my own life. He doesn't see things linearly. I think he got some of that from my father. My father he understood that without the people waiting on us tonight, we wouldn't be able to have a dinner. He didn't see things in a linear way, and my brother has that in such a beautiful way. Every night at dinner at his house, I've been blessed to I have no family in the formal sense, a lot of family in the informal sense, but Rick and Ann, his beautiful wife Ann, I'd love to give her a round of applause because she's amazing. She is the best cook, and she's become partly Lebanese. Seriously, like when you hang out with us long enough, you become Lebanese. She's now plucking her eyebrows. I'm telling you, it just happens. It just happens. But she is the best cook in the world, and I'm the hungriest brother-in-law in the world. And every meal that we eat at Rick's house, I have to beautifully wait while Rick lists in his prayer every name of every child who is struggling at St. Jude. Every name of every child who's struggling at St. Jude. I call it cold potatoes, but the warmest heart. Because my brother has the warmest heart. He actually, if 1 ounce of his energy or thought could make just the slightest improvement in a child, he's offering it. And again, it's what I see behind closed doors that inspires me beyond belief. And the final thing I want to say about him, which is something he told me, but I sort of knew, he says, I don't have a day in the hospital where I don't cry. And that's not necessarily tears of sadness. It's the tears that come with the beauty of seeing a child walking in courage, a parent in persistence. But it tells you so much about my brother that he's not a CEO that is sitting on a perch somewhere. He's a real leader. He listens. He's humble. He knows it's not him. He's got an amazing group of people here tonight. Emily's here, and some of his staff are here, and George is here. They're amazing people, and he knows he needs everybody, and he needs what we call God, the divine force, that without that divine force, without that presence, St. Jude would not exist. It has been one of the greatest blessings of my life to watch when Rick took the mantle, and it took a lot of courage for him to leave a very successful law practice to take the mantle and the risk of applying for this job, and watching what has happened to him. It's like watching the moment when Picasso went from drawing to becoming an artist. Rick has been touched by something that has turned him into, I wish we could write his name on the ballot on November 8th. I really do. I really do. And I think we found the woman who could sing the national anthem for his inauguration. She's amazing. I think I'm supposed to introduce a film now, so let me share what has been put together about some of the things Rick represents.
I have never met a man more passionate about what he does.
I would describe Rick first as being extremely smart.
He's like a grand uncle for all of us.
St. Jude is Rick Shadyac. Rick Shadyac is St. Jude.
He is one of the most giving, compassionate, kindest men I've ever met.
He's very proud of his Lebanese heritage, but he's also very proud of his American heritage.
My heritage means a lot to me. I think it helps define me as a person. I'm proud to be an American of Lebanese descent.
He embraces his heritage. He spreads the good news about what the Lebanese people have done. And he talks with so much pride about what the Lebanese have done for St. Jude and how they fulfilled Danny's dream.
Alsac and St. Jude, it's part of who Rick is. You can see it when he walks through the hospital and sees the kids. You can see it when he's talking about the hospital at an event. You can see it when he's dealing with staff, that this is something that it's not just a job to him. It's a mission, it's a passion.
The thing I'm most proud of is influencing and having an effect on the lives of kids and families that have been dealt that horrible card of finding out that their child has cancer or some devastating disease.
He's not putting on an act when he's in that hospital. He is truly with what he considers to be his friends and family. Those kids and their families mean the world to him.
Just being around him, you don't even really have to talk to him. He just makes you feel better.
I admire him very much for his passion, his sympathy, his cheer, his hope. He just gives it to you whenever he's around.
I hope people know just what an excellent human being Rick Shadyac is. He's committed in ways that's been an absolute shining example to all of us on how you commit and love totally.
It's humbling. Each and every day it's humbling to me to be able to lead American Lebanese Syrian Associated Charities and to carry on what Danny Thomas started and all of our founders envisioned from day one. We're all put on this earth to try to make this a better place. And if you can have an impact on even one person, you've made the world a little bit better.
So, with that, I have worked with Eddie Murphy, Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, Dave Chappelle, Steve Carell, Jennifer Aniston, and nobody is a bigger star than my brother in this world. So Rick, come up. I'm so proud of you, brother.
I think y'all have heard enough about me, so that's, wow. Tom, I love you. Thank you. I mean it, bud. I love you, man, and it's a privilege to be your brother, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. To my wife of 34 years, thank you for putting up with me. Tim and Corey, my daughter's not with us today, but Tim is here, my son. Thank you, guys. The rest of my family's here. You know, my dad's brother was supposed to be here tonight, but he just didn't feel well. But his wife is actually here. Lois Shadyac is here. So, and you know, I want to call out some of my colleagues. I got some ALSAC colleagues here, along with several of our board members. And I accept this award on behalf of my 1,300 ALSAC colleagues and our board. So I deeply appreciate it. And, you know, I want to say congratulations to the René Moawad Foundation. You all do amazing work. I've had the privilege of visiting Lebanon a couple of times and see some of the work firsthand that you all are conducting, and it is absolutely remarkable. You know, on our campus at St. Jude, we proudly celebrate our heritage. There's a beautiful saying in our pavilion. It says, "He who denies his heritage has no heritage." Khalil Gibran. Danny Thomas insisted that that be displayed at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in the Danny Thomas ALSAC Pavilion. As the CEO of American Lebanese Syrian Associated Charities, I am very proud to be a Lebanese-American. I am very proud to tell the world what the Lebanese and Syrian community has accomplished by creating St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And you know, truly, it is humbling. It is humbling to follow in the footsteps of true giants, Danny and Rosemarie Thomas, Mike Tamer,
Bud and Yvonne Rashid, members of this community here in Washington, D.C., Dr. Edward and Ann Soma, who many of you all knew, and my mother, Dick and Julie Shadyac, who I miss dearly. You know, these were amazing, truly amazing men and women that we should never forget. I love telling the story about how my dad, Dr. Soma, and Uncle Bud Rashid, met Danny Thomas. And you have to go back to the 1950s because they didn't know Danny Thomas. Danny Thomas called up my father when he was a lawyer at the Department of Justice here in Washington, D.C., and he was told to meet Danny Thomas in a bowling alley here, and he was told to bring a couple of his friends. And Bud Rashid was Dad's boss at the Department of Justice, and Dr. Soma was Dad's best friend here in the community. And they met Mike Tamer and Danny Thomas in a bowling alley, and Danny Thomas pitched this crazy idea. He said, guys, we're going to build a hospital. We're going to treat catastrophically ill kids. We think we're going to focus on leukemia first. We're going to treat them without regard to race, religion, creed, or ability to pay. And oh, by the way, we're going to put this hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, which is the epicenter of the poverty belt in the United States. And you know, my father said he asked one question, and it was a simple question. Danny, why are we going to do this? And Danny looked at him and he said, we need to say thank you to God and the United States of America for giving their parents, my grandparents, the opportunity to come from Lebanon to earn a living in this country. So, and look what they've accomplished. Look what they've accomplished. St. Jude leads the way the world understands, treats, and defeats childhood cancer. ALSAC, American Lebanese Syrian Associated Charities, is the largest healthcare charity in the United States of America. We will treat without charge over 8,000 kids this year from all 50 states and many foreign countries. But folks, think about how bold the proposition was in the 50s and the 60s. When they decided to take on leukemia, and there's a couple of doctors in the room, so hopefully I'll be factually accurate here. Survival rate for acute lymphoblastic leukemia, the most common form of childhood cancer, was 4%. Things were so devastating that our first CEO, the doctor that was responsible for finding the cure that got it over 50%, said we used to celebrate half birthdays because we didn't think the kids would survive to their next birthday. And fast forward 54 years, and for that very same disease, due in large part to the research and treatment conducted at St. Jude, the survival rate for leukemia is now 94%. I also want you to think about the remarkable promise that they made when they opened the doors at St. Jude, that no family would ever receive a bill from St. Jude, not for the cost of treatment, travel, housing, or food, because all we want mom and dad to worry about is helping their child survive. Think how visionary that was, because what Danny Thomas and those early founders really meant was that no mom or dad on the planet should have to make a health care decision for their child based upon how much money is in their bank account, in their wallet, or in their pocketbook. This was revolutionary. This was revolutionary in its time. It's a unique model today, and because of the support of the public, and you can see we have to raise well north of $1 billion this year to support St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, it shows how that promise has resonated with Americans all across the United States. And the beautiful thing is, because of our success It's not just American kids or U.S. kids that are benefiting from the work at St. Jude. We are now in 17 countries with 24 partner sites in those 17 countries. Our largest clinic we very proudly have in Beirut, Lebanon, the Children's Cancer Center of Lebanon. Supported by ALSAC, we have treated over 1,200 kids at the Children's Cancer Center of Lebanon. We impact over 80% of the childhood cancer cases in Lebanon, and we proudly have taken care of, some of the displaced refugee kids from all in the region as well. And their survival rates in Lebanon are now approaching 80% for leukemia, so it's remarkable. But folks, I would just leave you with this one last thought. Despite all the progress that we've talked about today, cancer remains the leading cause of death by disease in U.S. kids today. 1 in 5 kids diagnosed is still going to pass away, even in the United States. Around the world, it's below 50%. And that's completely unacceptable, and we're not going to sleep until no child dies from cancer. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I love to say this because I think it's the ultimate tribute to that first generation that were so courageous. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is the greatest gift from the Lebanese community to the United States of America. God bless you all.
Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. Time now for the most exciting and fun part of our evening. I have the honor tonight of being able to wear the craftsmanship of Mr. Lebanese designer Rani Zakhem. What do you think? It's absolutely beautiful. In fact, I was thinking if I eat enough tonight, maybe I'll be stuck in it and he won't be able to take it back. I'll give you all a minute to take your seats so that you can pay full attention to his beautiful clothing line, the show that we are about to see. Thank you again all. Please take your seats for the start of our fashion show tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. You know, women know this, but for the men in the room, clothing is a form of art that really speaks to humans like no other, because we ourselves are the canvas, and it takes an artist of a truly great vision and warmth to be able to create something that is not just meaningful to the artist who created it, but also to the millions of other women around the world who want to be able to celebrate it so intimately that they put it on their own bodies and they own it and they wear it. Rani Zakhem's clothes are inspired by people from all over the world. Rani was born in Lebanon, raised in Kenya, educated in Europe and here in the United States, and he has become one of the most sought-after designers of our time, dressing everyone from Kelly Rowland to Katie Cuoco, Queen Latifah, Angelica Houston, Juliana Rancic, and Maria Menounos. Now, to all of the men here in the room, all the husbands, all the boyfriends, all the fathers, those are famous people. Ask your wives and daughters. Rani has several fashion lines, but tonight you all have the honor of seeing his latest work. I present to you the Fall-Winter 2016 Couture collection of Rani Zakhem. Absolutely stunning, right? Please join me in congratulating Rani and Congressman Ray Hall. If you could also please join us on stage. Tonight, the Outstanding Talent Award is being presented to Mr. Rani Zakhem. With that, I want to thank you all. It was so wonderful to see you here tonight. I hope you continue to enjoy yourselves, chat with your friends. Also, the dance floor will open in just a few moments. If you won the silent auction, you can pick up your prize. And a reminder, of course, enjoy the rest of the night and continue. Habibi.